Hey, what the hell's going on, you guys? It is Triple Player Negative AE, and welcome to this. This is Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. This is the Trilogy. Just some quick info about me in this game. I've never played this game. I've seen this game a lot, and it was one of the games that I kind of wanted as a kid. Kind of reminded me of like a Danganronpa situation a little bit. And I always kind of wanted to play it. Never got around to it. Never really learned too much about it. The only thing I know about this game is that the guy says objection a lot, and that's pretty much it. But as far as I understand it, this is a pretty well-liked game, as far as I understand it. So this may or may not stick around on the channel. Stay tuned. I don't know. If you guys all want to see this, I'd definitely be interested in playing it. Obviously, it's something that I wanted to play when I was a kid. Let me jump into a game. And it looks like we have all of them. So we're going to play Ace Attorney first, then Justice for All, then Trials and Tribulations. I guess we're playing the first chapter. I don't know how intense this is. And is it auto? Because I didn't press anything. Why me? I can't get caught. Not like this. I gotta find someone to pin this on. Someone like him. I'll make it look like he did it. So, August 3rd, 9:47 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2. Boy, am I nervous. Okay, now we have to press enter. Got it. Right. Hello. Oh, hiya, Chief. I'm glad I made it on time. Well, I have to say, Phoenix, I'm impressed. Not everyone takes on a murder trial right off the bat like this. It says a lot about you, and your client as well. Thanks. Actually, it's because I owe him a favor. A favor? You mean you knew the defendant before this case? Yes. Actually, I kind of owe my current job to him. He's one of the reasons I became an attorney. Well, that's news to me. I want to help him out any way I can. I just really want to help him. I owe him that much. It's over. My life. Everything. It's all over. Is that your client screaming over there? Yeah, it's him. Death, despair. Oh, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna die. Sounds like he wants to die. Yeah. Nick. Hey. Hey there, Larry. Dude, I'm so guilty. Tell them I'm guilty. Give me the death sentence. I ain't afraid to die. What? What's wrong, Larry? It's all over. I'm finished. Finished! I can't live in a world without her. I can't. Who took her away from me, Nick? Who did this? Nick, you gotta tell me. Who took my baby away? Person responsible for your girlfriend's death? The newspapers say it was you. My name is Phoenix Wright. Here's the story. So, just to stop right there. So do we know who the murderer is, and our job is to pin it on the guy? That's interesting. How are they gonna throw me off? Like I know who did it, so I'm just gonna go with the option that's most obviously towards the guy who did it. The first case is a fairly simple one. A young woman was killed in her apartment. The guy they arrested was the unlucky sap dating her. Larry Butts, my best friend since grade school. Our school had a saying, when something smells, it's usually the butts. In the 23 years I've known him, it's usually been true. He has a knack for getting himself into trouble. One thing I can say, though, it's usually not his fault. He just has terrible luck. But I know better than anyone, he's a good guy at heart. That and I owe him one, which is why I took the case, to clear his name. And that's just what I'm going to do. August 3rd, 10 a.m., District Court, Courtroom. Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Larry Butts. I'm sorry. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, is this your first? This is your first trial, is it not? Yes, Your Honor. I am a little nervous. Your conduct during this trial will decide the fate of your client. Murder is a serious charge. For your client's sake, I hope you can control your nerves. Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, given the circumstances, I think we should have a test to ascertain your readiness. Yes, Your Honor. I don't know how they're going to throw me off. Eyesight fading. The test will consist of a few simple questions. Answer them clearly and concisely. Please state the name of the defendant in this case. Larry Butts. The defendant? Well, that's Larry Butts, Your Honor. Correct. Just keep your wits about you and you'll do fine. Next question. This is a murder trial. Tell me, what's the victim's name? I know this one. Glad I read the case report cover so many times. It's... Wait. Uh-oh. No. No way, I forgot. I'm drawing a total blank here. Phoenix, are you absolutely sure you're up to this? You don't even know the victim's name? Oh, the victim. Of course I know the victim's name. Who is this girl who's looking at me? Girl? I, just forgot, temporarily. I think I feel a migraine coming on. Look, the victim's name is listed in the court record. Profile. Cindy Stone. Gotcha. Just press tab to check it anytime, okay? Remember to check it often. Do it for me, please. I'm begging you. So this stuff is gonna be... So we're in a Danganronpa trial, basically. Except we don't have, like, the bullets that the Danganronpa trial has. The victim's name is Cindy Stone, except we know who did it. So, like, again, I'm still kind of... Now tell me, what was the cause of death? She died because she was... Well, I mean, she was hit with a blunt object, wasn't she? I mean, we saw it in the thing. Struck once by a blunt object. Correct. You answered all my questions. I see no reason why we shouldn't proceed. You seem much more relaxed, Mr. Wright. Good for you. Thank you, Your Honor. Because I don't feel relaxed, that's for sure. Well then, first, a question for the prosecution. Mr. Payne. Yes, Your Honor. As Mr. Wright just told us, the victim was struck? What the fuck kind of word is that? Struck with a blunt object. Would you care to explain to the court what that object was? The murder weapon was the statue of the Thinker. It was found laying on the floor next to the victim. You see, the court accepts it into evidence. Statue added it to the court record. Statue in the shape of the Thinker is rather heavy. Right. Be sure to pay attention to any evidence added during the trial. That evidence is the only ammunition you have in court. Use tab to check the court record frequently. Mr. Payne, the prosecution may call its first witness. The prosecution calls the defendant, Mr. Butts, to the stand. Chief, what do I do now? Pay attention. You don't want to miss any information that might help your client's case. You'll get your chance to respond to the prosecution later, so be ready. Let's just hope he doesn't say anything unfortunate. Uh-oh. Larry gets excited easily. This could be bad. Yeah, he's gonna be like, I'm guilty, I did it. Ahem. Mr. Butts, is it not true that the victim had recently dumped you? Hey, watch it, buddy. We were great together. We were Romeo and Juliet, Cleopatra and Mark Antony. Didn't they all die? I wasn't dumped, she just... wasn't taking my phone calls or seeing me ever. What is it to you, anyway? Mr. Butts, what you describe is generally what we mean by dumped. In fact, she had completely abandoned you and was seeing other men. She had just returned from overseas with one of them the day before the murder. What do you mean, one of them? Lies, all of it, lies. I don't believe a word of it. Wait, but hold on. Why is he even being investigated then? If he was dumped by the... She was in Paris till the day before she died. Passport added to the court record. On 7:30, the day before the murder. Indeed, she appears to have returned the day before the murder. I feel like if he was dumped and she wasn't returning any of his phone calls, how was he even supposed to know where she was? Dude, no way. The victim was a model, but did not have a large income. It appears that she had several sugar daddies. Daddies? Sugar? Yes, older men who gave her money and gifts. She took their money and used them to support her lifestyle. Dude, we can clearly see what kind of woman this Miss Stone was. Tell me, Mr. Butts, what do you think of her now? Right. I don't think you want him to answer that question. Yeah, Larry has a way of running his mouth in all the wrong directions. Should I... I mean, stop him from... Wait and see what happens. Stop him from answering. My client had no idea the victim was seeing other men. That question is irrelevant to that case. To this case. Dude, Nick, what do you mean irrelevant? Cheat and sheet on. I'm gonna die. I'm just gonna drop dead. When I meet her in the afterlife, I'm gonna get to the bottom of it. Let's continue with the trial, shall we? I believe the accused motive is clear to everyone. Yes, quite. Oh boy, this is not looking good. Next question. You went to the victim's apartment on the day of the murder, did you not? Nope. Well, did you or did you not? Well, maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Okay, he went. What do I do? Have him answer honestly. I know. I'll send him a signal. What? Yeah. I was there, I went. Order. Well, Mr. Butts? Dude, chill. She wasn't home, man. So, like, I didn't see her. Jesus Christ. Your Honor, the defendant is lying. Lying? The prosecution would like to call a witness who can prove Mr. Butts is lying. Well, that simplifies matters. Who is your witness? The man who found the victim's body. Just before making the gruesome discovery. He saw the defendant fleeing the scene of the crime. That guy that killed her is going to be here? Order in the court. Mr. Payne. The prosecution may call its witness. Yes, Your Honor. This is bad. On the day of the murder, my witness was selling newspapers at the victim's building. Please bring Mr. Frank Sawit. Sawit? Frank Sawit to the stand. That is the dumbest name I've ever heard in my life. And I hate him. I absolutely hate him. Mr. Sawit, you sell the newspaper subscriptions, is that correct? Oh yes, newspapers, yes. Mr. Sawit, I hate you so much. Mr. Sawit, you may proceed with your testimony. Please tell the court what you saw on the day of the murder. Witness testimony. Witness's account. I was going door to door selling subscriptions when I saw a man fleeing an apartment. I thought he must be in a hurry because he left the apartment, or the door half open behind him. Thinking it strange, I looked inside the apartment. Then I saw her lying there, a woman, not moving, dead. I quailed and frightened, found myself unable to go inside. I thought to call the police immediately. However, the phone in her apartment wasn't working. Went to a nearby park and found a public phone. Remember the time exactly. It was 1 p.m. The man who ran was, without a doubt, the defendant sitting right over there. This is interesting, knowing who killed the person. In games that I've played in the past, and I guess I'm just referencing Danganronpa here, but they like tend to not give you any information, and like the goal is to like figure out what's going on. But I guess the mystery here is like how to convince the court of the completely opposite scenario where my client isn't. It's interesting. Can't defend you against a testimony like that. Incidentally, why wasn't the phone in the victim's apartment working? Your Honor, at the time of the murder, there was a blackout in the building. Aren't phones supposed to work during a blackout? Yes, Your Honor. However, some cordless phones do not function normally. The phone that Mr. Sawwitz used was one of those. Your Honor, I have a record of the blackout for your perusal. Was from noon to 6 p.m. on the day of the crime. Mr. Wright. Yes. Yes, Your Honor. You may begin your cross-examination. Cross-examination, Your Honor? Alright, Wright, this is it. The real deal. What exactly am I supposed to do? Why, you exposed the lies in the testimony the witness just gave. What? He was lying? Your client is innocent, right? And that witness must have lied in his testimony. Or is your client really guilty? How do I prove he's not? You hold the key. It's in the evidence. Compare the witness's testimony to the evidence at hand. There's bound to be a contradiction in there. First, find contradictions between the court record and the witness testimony. Then, once you find contradicting evidence, present it and rub it in the witness's face. Okay, open the court record with tab and point it out in the contradictions in the testimony. Cross-examination. I was going door to door when I saw a man fleeing an apartment. What do I have? I have blunt trauma. Okay, there's my attorney's badge. This is the weapon. Time of death, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. So he's lying about the time of death. Not necessarily the blackout record, but the time of death is interesting. So let's continue till we get time of death. Must be in a hurry because he left the door half open behind him. Thinking it strange, I looked inside the apartment. Then I saw her lying there. A woman, not moving, dead. I quailed and frightened, found myself unable to go inside. I called the police. However, the phone in her apartment wasn't working. Went to a nearby park and found a public phone. Found the time exactly. Boom. Tab. Present this bullshit. You found the body at 1 p.m. You're sure? Yes, it was 1 p.m. for certain. Frankly, I find that hard to believe. Your statement directly contradicts the autopsy report. The autopsy notes the time of death sometime after 4 p.m. There was no body to find at 1 p.m. How do you explain this 3-hour gap? This is trivial. The witness merely forgot the time. After his testimony, I find that hard to believe. Mr. Sawwitz, why were you so certain that you found the body at 1 p.m.? Dude, that's a really good question. Great job, Wright. Way to put him on the spot. That's all you have to do. Point out contradictions. Okay. So we found what this game is about. Cool. I don't know. I feel like I could play this game. But it's totally up to you guys. If you guys want to see this, This has always been a game that I've been very curious about. So I think it'd be interesting to kind of play through it. But who knows if you guys want to see something like this. Because it's pretty much just visual novel stuff. Which, I mean, that's what I'm doing with Higurashi anyway. But there's like an emphasis on already knowing what's going on and then trying to figure out what's going on with the testimony. Sorry, my brain died as soon as I saw testimony, time of discovery. I have to listen to this. You see, when I found the body, I heard the time. There was a voice saying the time. It was probably coming from the television. Oh, but it was 3 hours off, wasn't it? I guess the victim must have been watching a videotaped program, or of a taped program. That's why I thought it was 1 p.m. Terribly sorry about the misunderstanding. What? See, you heard a voice saying the time on a taped program. Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Right. You know what to do. I've got this one. Okay, well I have to figure out what I have that I can contradict. You see, when I found the body, I heard the time. Okay. The electricity to Mrs. Stone's building was out. They're hand-feeding this one to me a little bit. There was a voice saying the time. It was probably coming from the television. So I'm going to present now. Hold it right there. The prosecution has said there was a blackout at the time of discovery. And this record proves it. You couldn't have heard a television or a video. Well, the defense has a point. You have an explanation for this, Mr. Sawhit? No, I find it puzzling myself quite. Oh, wait, I remember now. Mr. Sawhit, the court would prefer to hear an accurate testimony from the very beginning. These constant corrections are harming your credibility. That, and you seem rather distraught. Or rather distraught. My apologies, Your Honor. It must have been the shock of finding the body. Very well, Mr. Sawhit. I hate that name. Let's hear your testimony once more, please. Okay, what's going on here? What are you gonna say? Actually, I didn't hear the time. I saw it. There was a table in the, or there was a table clock in the apartment. Wait. There, yeah, the murder weapon. The killer used it to hit the victim. That must have been what I saw. Saw a clock? I guess that would explain it. The defense may cross-examine the witness. Gladly. I mean, that's easy. That's like... Actually, I didn't hear the time. I saw it. There was a table clock in the apartment, wasn't there? Yeah, the murder weapon. The killer used it to hit the victim. It's not true. That's not true at all. Wait just a moment. The murder weapon wasn't a clock. It was the statue. Now how is this supposed to be a clock? You with your objections and your evidence. Just who do you think you are? Just answer the question, Mr. Sawhit. I saw it there, okay? That's a clock. Your Honor, if I may. Yes, Mr. Payne? As the witness stated, this statue is indeed a clock. The neck is a switch. You just tilt it, and it says the time out loud. As it doesn't look like a clock, I submitted it as a statue. My apologies. I see. So the murder weapon was a table clock after all. Well, Mr. Wright, it appears that the witness's testimony was correct. This is a clock. Do you have any problems with this testimony now? Oh my god! Do I? What did he say? He said, What do I have? Loss of blood due to blunt trauma. I don't think I do. He hit the person over the head with the clock. They submitted it as a statue, but it's actually a clock. Then he saw the time. So no, I mean, yes, I do. Because this says that. Yes? Your Honor, there is a gaping hole in the witness's testimony. The only way he could have known the weapon was a clock was to hold it in his hand. Yet the witness testified that he never entered the apartment. Damn! I didn't even think about that, dude. Good shit. Good shit, right? Clearly a contradiction. Indeed. The witness knew it was a clock because he went into the apartment. You're lying. You were inside the apartment on the day of the murder. Oh yeah? Prove it. Prove I went in there. I'll do better than that. I can prove you're the one who killed her. You struck her with the clock, and the shock of the blow triggered the clock's voice. That was the sound you heard. Order in the court. Intriguing. Please continue, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. Mr. saw it. The sound must have left quite an impression on you. Understandable, since the murder weapon spoke just as you hit the victim. That voice was burned into your mind. That's why you were so certain about the time. What's the meaning of this? This is all baseless conjecture. Baseless? Just look at the witness's face. Would the witness care to elaborate? Did you strike the victim with the clock? That day, I would never. Look, the clock, I heard, no, I mean, I saw. What the fuck? Shut up, shut up, shut up, I hate you. It was him, I tell you. I saw him. He killed her, and he should burn. Burn! Give him death. He just smacked me in the face with his hair. It's toupee. Your Honor, a moment, please. There isn't a shred of evidence supporting the defense's claims. Mr. Wright, Your Honor, you claim the sound the witness heard came from the clock. Do you have any evidence? The whole case is riding on this. I better think it through carefully. Your Honor, the sound of Mr. Saw heard was definitely this clock. A fact which is clear if you simply oh wow. We can't ask the neighbors. It's either, it's two things. It's either examine the clock's batteries or try sounding the clock, and I don't know which one. And I see that there's a blinking battery up top, and I don't know what that means. If we examine the clock's batteries, if it has more battery power than it needs to just tell the time, I mean, you could try sounding the clock and it would work that way as well. I'm gonna say it just makes sense to examine the clock's batteries. These two sound trivial, right? Like, ask the neighbors, or I don't know, try it. But examine the clock's batteries, that sounds like maybe that's what you're supposed to do. All you have to do is examine the batteries. Batteries are in the right way. The clock seems to be working fine. What exactly did you mean, Mr. Wright? That clock was working fine. Yes, and? Mr. Wright, I expect more from a lawyer in this court, even if it is your first day. I'm afraid I have to penalize you. Try to think things through more carefully. Okay, so it was try sounding the clock. Your Honor. Let's hear the sound of the clock. Let's sound the clock now here in this court, Your Honor. May I have the clock? I ask the court to listen very carefully. I think it's 8:25. That certainly is a strange way to announce the time. Well, he is the thinker, after all. So, we've heard the clock. What are your conclusions, Mr. Wright? Mr. Payne, can you tell me what time it is now? It's 11:25. As you can tell, or as you can see, this clock is exactly 3 hours slow. Precisely the discrepancy between what Mr. Sawit heard and the actual time of death. So, Mr. Sawit? Try to talk your way out of this one. Ha! You forgot one thing. Uh-oh. What's he talking about now? While it may seem like the clock is running 3 hours slow, it proves nothing. How do you know it was running 3 hours slow on the day of the murder? If you can't prove that, you don't have a case. He's right. How am I going to prove that? Damn it. It was so close. Mr. Wright, it seems you lack the critical evidence to support your claim. Yes, Your Honor. This means I cannot let you indict the witness. Unfortunately. This ends the cross-examination of Mr. Frank Sawit. I come all the way down here to testify, and look what happens. You treat me like a criminal. A criminal! Your lawyers are all slime. Grr, I almost had him. Sorry, Larry. I failed you. Nothing I can do about it now. What? Not so fast, Mr. Sawit. Chief. Listen up, Wright. Don't throw this one away. Not like this. Think. But, Chief, it's over. I can't prove that the clock was slow on the day of the murder. Nobody can prove that. Well, yes. But that doesn't mean you still can't win, or you can't still win. Try thinking outside the box. Don't waste time doubting the facts. Assume the clock was 3 hours slow, and think through it. Ask yourself, why was the clock 3 hours slow? Figure out the reason and you'll have your proof. Right? Right? Can you think of a reason why the clock would be 3 hours slow? I'm gonna say yes. Wait, maybe I can prove it. You must have evidence somewhere that can prove it, right? Because it wasn't charged. Right? I don't know. Find it and let them have it. Well, Mr. Wright, you said the clock was already running slow on the day of the murder. Have you found evidence to support this claim? Of course. There's a piece of evidence in the court record that can prove my claim beyond the doubt. Tough words. Let's see you pull this one off. Time of death? The autopsy report. Why does it matter if the clock is 3 hours slow? Or not? Oh god, dude. It's gotta be this, right? It's gotta be 4 or 5 p.m. Because charging wouldn't matter. But wait, the passport. The victim apparently arrived home from Paris on 7:30 the day before the murder. That would explain... That would kind of explain some things. See, these two both explain it. I'm going to present the passport because it's the only piece of evidence we have not given yet. The victim had just returned home from abroad the day before the murder. As we all know, time difference between here and Paris is 9 hours. When it's 4 p.m. here, it's 1 a.m. the next day there. The clock wasn't 3 hours slow, it was 9 hours fast. The victim hadn't reset her clock since returning home. That's why the time you heard when you struck her dead in her apartment was wrong. Proof enough for you, Mr. Saw It? Or should I say, Mr. Did It? What? Order, order, I say. Well, this case has certainly turned out differently than we all expected. Mr. Payne, your witness. He was arrested and has been taken away, Your Honor. Very well. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. I have to say, I'm impressed. I don't think I've ever seen someone complete a defense so quickly, and to find the true culprit at the same time. Culprit. Thank you, Your Honor. At this point, this is only a formality, but this court finds the defendant, Mr. Larry Butts, not guilty. Yo, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. This was kind of Phoenix Wright. I didn't know what to expect, but I'm interested. It really depends. I feel like this has the ability to get really intense, to make me fail. Because even just there in that simple trial case, it was like, what do I choose? What's the contradiction? It was easy for the most part for the first one, but it's like, this could get interesting. It turns out that Frank Saw It was a common burglar. He posed as a newspaper salesman to check and see when people were out of the house. That day, when Larry went to her apartment, the victim wasn't home. After he left, Mr. Saw It let himself in to do his dirty work. While he was searching her place, the victim returned. Flustered, Mr. Saw It grabbed the nearest blunt object he could find. Phew, I still can't believe we won. Right, good job in there. Congratulations. Thanks, Chief. I owe it all to you. Not at all, not at all. You fought your own battles in there. It's been a while since I've been on I've seen a trial end on such a satisfying note. I've never seen the Chief looking this happy. If she's this glad, imagine how Larry must feel. Life is over. Larry, you're supposed to be happy. What's wrong now? Aw, Nick. Don't worry about me, I'll be dead and gone soon. Good. Wait, no, I mean, bad. Larry, you're innocent. The case is closed. But my Cindy Windy's gone, man. Gone forever. Larry, she was Never mind. Congratulations, Harry. Harry? Yes, you. I can practically see the headlines now. Harry Butts, innocent. Oh, thanks. I really owe you one. I won't forget this, ever. Let's celebrate. Dinner? Movie? My treat. Oh, no, I couldn't. Hey, I was the one who got you off the hook. Oh, hey. Here, take this. It's a present. A present for me? Wait, wasn't this the evidence that... Actually, I made this clock for her. I made one for her and one for me. Really? You made this? Well, thank you. I'll keep it as a memento. Yo, Nick. Can you believe it? I was so into that chick. And she was just playing me for a fool. Won't that make you just want to cry? Larry. Are you so sure? Look at this summary. Gosh darn it. Squeeze me? I think she thought quite a lot of you in her own way. You don't gotta sympathize with me. It's okay. Oh, I'm not just sympathizing, really. Isn't that right? Don't you have something to show your friend? Something that proves how she felt about him? Oh yeah, right. heck is she talking about? Oh, the statue. Check this out, Larry. Proof positive you weren't some cheap chump to her. Or chump to her. Huh? What about that clock? This is the clock you made for her, Larry. And she took it with her when she traveled. Whatever, she probably just needed a clock, that's all. You think so? Pretty heavy clock to take while traveling. Well, make of it what you will. Is it just me, or on his shirt does he have two, like, eyeballs? What's going on with this shirt? Why does he have two eyeballs? Like a face, almost. Hey, Nick. I'm glad I asked you to be my lawyer. Really, I am, thanks. Hope that made him feel a little bit better. Right? I hope you see the importance of evidence now. Also, hopefully you realize things can change depending on how you look at them. People, too. Never really know if our clients are guilty or innocent. All we can do is believe in them. And in order to believe in them, you have to believe in yourself. Right. Listen, learn, grow strong. Never let go of what you believe in. Never. Well, I think our work here is done. Shall we be off? Yeah, I guess so. Okay, how about dinner? On me? I'll have dinner on you, alright. No, I'm just joking. I don't know why I said that. Just what popped in my head. We'll drink on a toast and listen. Cool. Awesome. Oh, speaking of Harry, you were saying part of why you became a lawyer was because of him. Yeah, part at least. You'll have to tell me more about it sometime. Maybe over drinks? Dude, she's so into you. What? That girl is so into us. Guaranteed. And so, my first trial came to a close. Larry slapped me on the back and said, "Gee, Nick, it's good to have friends. But I'm pretty sure he's not going to pay us. Unless you count the clock he gave me." I didn't know it then, but that clock was soon going to be at the center of another incident. I promised to tell the chief about me and Larry. I fucking knew it, dude. Dude, I kid you not, in my head, I was like, that's odd that they have a replica of the same clock that was used to murder that chick. I legit was like, what? Hold on. But I didn't say anything because I didn't want to, like, metagame too hard. But, just doesn't make sense that there's a replica of that clock. I think that chief is in trouble. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you guys hanging out and checking this out. Let me know if you guys want to see more of this. Like I said, I've never really played this game, so I don't know too much about what's gonna happen. I imagine we'll do an episode chapter. So who knows? I might need to do some editing, or maybe we'll split them up into two. I don't know how long these are gonna get. The tutorial one was pretty normal visual novel length, but they might get longer than this. I have no idea. We'll wing it as we go. I hope to see you guys in the next one where we figure out what's going on here. And who knows? Maybe we'll play through this all the way. I don't know. Peace out, you guys.